The other day, my son reached out to me and said, "Dad, I want to print some stuff. Which printer should I use?" And if you don't know, I have a lot of 3D printers. In this room, there are, I don't even know how many. There's probably 12 or 13 right now. And I've got all kinds of choices, and they're all different. I don't even have two of the same printer. Over the last 5 years, I've owned about 25 different 3D printers. And these aren't just no-name things. Some of them are, and a lot of them are big brands like Creality or AlphaWise, FlashForge, SnapMaker, all kinds, LotMax, and others. And so when my son says, which printer should I use? Which one do you think is really just gonna work? Then I had to think about that for a second, but I realized it's always the same answer. I keep referring everyone to the same printer. Now this video is in no way sponsored. No one has given me anything for this. In fact, the printer I'm going to talk about, this longer printer, they don't know that I'm doing this. This is just something I wanted to share because I get this question all the time. What's a reliable printer that's a reasonable price, that has a lot of good features and is going to work for me out of the box and just do a good job? And that's this one right here. This is called the Longer LK5 Pro. I've done a video on this before, and I think a lot of people have been introduced to this brand and this specific printer through our channel, and that makes me happy because I really feel like I can endorse this printer as a solid and reliable 3D printer. Just a few specs on this printer to get you familiar with why this is one of my favorites is, number one, it has this triangle architecture here. So we've got these supporting braces on the front, and that makes a huge difference as far as the stability. I've printed really large pieces on this and it doesn't have any issue. It doesn't have that warping or wobbling that you tend to see, especially as you have your x-axis moving with a lot of weight up on the gantry here, and the higher up the gantry it goes on the z-axis, the more it tends to wobble on most 3D printers. But this thing is rock solid from bottom to top, which is really nice. Another thing is it's huge. This is a 300 by 300 by 400 printer. And in inches, that works out to roughly 12 inches by 12 inches by 16 inches. It's a pretty big setup. So this thing is very large and it does really anything you need. I like to print a lot of cosplay kind of stuff like full-size helmets, and I can print, for example, a Stormtrooper helmet right on here without issue, and I don't have to do it in multiple parts. Really nice not to have to slice things up and glue them together in pieces. Another thing I love about this is that it has a 4.3-inch color touchscreen, which means that I don't have to sit there with a knob and go back and forth. I just got a new 3D printer probably a month ago, and it's still got the knob. It's got a color touchscreen, but I have to move that little dial back and forth and then click it in to get where I want to go. It's fine, but it's so much nicer just to have the touchscreen, have it in color, and just have everything I need like a traditional menu. So that one works out really well. Another cool thing is this comes with not only a big bed, but it is a carborundum glass bed. And I've done videos before specifically on this type of material because when your print is done, you don't have to even pop it off. It's already off. As the print bed cools, it releases the print pretty much entirely. If anything, it might click off, and that's about it. So I love the fact that I don't have to deal at all with things that are stuck to the bed and trying to pry them off the bed, crank it off, and then end up with broken pieces or something like that. So it's got a great bed, it's large, it's stable, it's got a nice color touchscreen, and the best thing of all, it's cheap. When you're looking at this compared to anything that is in that same competitive market for price, this is the biggest, best printer I think that you can get for this price. Now, other people have other opinions. I totally accept that. I don't want to say that this is the best and you have to get this one. It's just that in my experience, this is such a good deal. I really just wanted to take a minute to let you know what I think is probably the most reliable printer I've had out of all these 25, and the one that I constantly and regularly recommend to people. And I usually get a thank you email back if they do purchase one of these because they'll have the same experience. It really is good. It's not perfect. Every printer has its own issues and things like that, but I couldn't tell you what they are with this one. It really does an excellent job. I don't know that I've had, I honestly don't know if I've even had a failed print with this thing. It just works every time. So a great printer, a great price, and again, this is not in any way sponsored. This is just my way of sharing with you what works. Now, just FYI, that same company that sent me this one about 1.5 years ago, they've been begging me to try out another longer printer. I couldn't say no to it because I wanted to try it out, and I actually just assembled it last night. It's a smaller, longer printer, has even more features, and sure enough, right out of the box, within about 20 minutes of getting it out of the box and getting it going, I hit print on it and came out with a perfect print. So there's longer, I don't know, they've got some secret sauce going on to make their stuff really good. So more on that. Hopefully I'll have a review on that at some point in the near future. No promises, but I will say that gives me even more confidence to recommend a brand like Longer because their stuff just works. I'm Nils with the 3D Printing Zone. Thanks for watching.